Good evening. Today is September 26, 2025, and this is an update to the update. I had just put an update out for Vin-Gate. I like that word. We're going to use that. But I just posted a update, my new research about this issue with the VIN. And Liz Amazing channel was talking about these Newmars and potentially other coaches that are not street legal because of missing VINs on the chassis. Um, Anybody that knows me, this channel is about fact and not emotion. It's about truth and not made up bullshit. We only deal in truth and facts here, talk about news. And so I really have to do this story. I really have to talk about this because I'm afraid that I'm going to have to side on the side of Newmar and not Liz Amazing. Um, Only because the facts don't support her side of the argument, and we are going to knock those out in this video. We're going to be playing clips of hers and her statements because it's her statements that are the problem. I don't have any issues with her. She has been doing this a long time. I am all for advocates for we the people. I'm an advocate for people in homeowners associations. I become an activist. I lost my home due to a fraudulent, illegal HOA. And I was also an RV owner for about 15 years. So I know all about the industry, and I'm not talking out of my ass. So we're going to talk about her story here, and that she really needs to do a reversal. There's nothing wrong with saying I'm sorry and that I was wrong. In a situation like this where it could cost somebody millions of dollars, I think that's just a very good dose of antibiotics to protect yourself against Newmar filing a claim against you. Because the facts don't support her claims. I'm going to say it right now, and I'll say it at the end. The real criminal is the custom agents that did this to the owners of the coach in Canada. And we'll talk about why later on. But those are the people that need to be held accountable for what they did to those two people. And we will shine a light on that, and hopefully their attorney will get a copy of this and get to understand the argument there, and go after them. They are not going to get anywhere with Newmar based on this information. So let's hit her. Let's listen to what she has to say, and then we'll kind of knock it out here and there, and see what we can see at the end. If you guys agree with me, please like, share, subscribe. This is not monetized. There's no money here. I'm doing this as basically a kind of a PSA. I believe that the people should have good information and should be well educated, and I'm just putting my 2 cents in, whatever that's worth. I have a question. If it's a penny for your thoughts, why do you have to put your 2 cents in? Sounds like somebody's making a penny. All right, let's get started.
On motorhomes and Newmar's response next. Welcome to the channel. I'm Liz. Last week I brought you the story of Brian and Jennifer, who are facing a $660,000 penalty for trying to cross the border without VIN badging on their motorhome. This story was covered originally by another channel that quickly took their video down due to pressure from the manufacturer.
Okay, let's the first thing I want to do is I want to stop right there. If you understand the story, if you watch the very first story, you will know that they tried to take the coach across state lines and or country lines, I guess, from Canada and the United States. And customs didn't like that very much, and they dinged them 3 times the cost, the value, not the cost, the value of their coach. I want you to just let that soak in for a second. $660,000 fine, which was supposedly 3 times the value of their coach. They showed the paperwork showing the fine. So, what am I talking about? Where did they get that number for the value of the coach? Supposedly, this is $1 million coach. I believe they're trying to sell it for $1 million, or I'm not sure if that's $1 million American or $1 million Canadian. I don't know, but it wasn't $200,000 they were trying to sell it for. They were trying to sell it for, I believe, $1 million or $600,000. So if their value was $660,000 to try to sell it for, then their fine should have been 6 times 3, $180,000, right? $1,000. I'm not saying they should get a fine for $180,000. What I'm trying to say here is that they did further damage to these people by putting this arbitrary number on their coach. They didn't. Maybe they've got $100,000 in upgrades on it, right? So they assigned some arbitrary value that they pulled out of their ass, and now that is on paper. Now this is a international story, and now these people can't sell their coach. And now they're like, anybody wants that coach? Wait. The government themselves said that this is only worth $220,000 because the fine was 3 times the value. That's the real damage here. Of course, there's the damage of the coach being hit or hitting an overpass, coming back to comply with customs requirements that they bring the coach back. That wouldn't have happened if they didn't have to bring it back. Plus all the additional miles, obviously, plus all the legal fees and everything else. Pain and suffering, loss of enjoyment of life, blah blah blah, all those things. But the real damage was that they have now pretty much devalued their coach to a maximum value of $200,000. That's painful right there. That's terrible. And they should have to pay a severe penalty for doing that to those people. I don't care if it was intentional or not. This is the problem with the government, is they're incompetent. They hire the lowest hanging fruit, and then they promote them until they're completely incompetent, right? What is that, the Peter Principle? Yeah, it's exactly what they do. And this is on full display how these tards have destroyed these 2 people's lives. For what? Incompetence, retardation. I'm not sure, maybe they rode the little bus. I don't know. But they did so much damage to these people that's where the lawsuits. I don't know if that was the United States that did that or Canada or both. Maybe they both had hands. Maybe we should sue them both for, $100 million each. Maybe they'll get the message then. So anyway, we're going to go through here and we're going to continue to listen to Liz Amazing's statements. And then we're going to have to, unfortunately, rip the Band-Aid off. So let's keep going.
Apparently, Newmar doesn't want you to know that the VIN badging could be missing from thousands of their motorhomes. That's why I'm grateful to you for getting this story out. Christian Kermai at Auto Evolution and Steve Lito picked the story up. This is a huge story and it has serious consequences. Without proper VIN badging, you are not street legal, you're vulnerable to theft, and no, you can't just etch the VIN on your frame because that's illegal.
All of the things that she just said were fallacies. All of it. So we're going to continue to go through here. She's the one that burns herself. I don't have to do anything but just underline the words that she says. Um, it's painful, but it just happens to be the truth. Um, it's just right on the face of it. Think about it. These companies have been building frames or chassis and coaches for 40 years, 50, a long, long time. And all of this time, it's been completely fine. Not a single fraudulent chassis been sold. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, there's this possible national event like everybody just got instant brain damage and forgot to put VIN numbers on chassis. Sometimes, the easiest answer is the right answer. You just have to kind of just stop and think about it for a second and go, yeah, that is kind of weird that, hundreds of thousands of RVs around the country have been sold for so many years, and nobody has ever had this problem before. Now all of a sudden it's a national problem. And I thought the same thing. I was skeptical of it, but she was convincing with some of her arguments, but I still wasn't 100%. And but I had to do more research. And life is what happens when you make plans. So I get very little time. I've got many different projects that I'm working on. I'm an activist for First Amendment auditors. So I help a lot of people behind the scenes in identifying, corrupt cops. So I had to kind of give her the benefit of the doubt on that. I found information. I put an update out, and then 15, 30 minutes after I put mine out, she put a new one out, and she doubled down on it, and it sounded just as bad as the first one, but I had more time to do my research, and I found the fly in the ointment. So I'm going to show you that, but let's listen to what she says. And it's really important that we do this is a teachable moment, and we need to be able to identify a fallacy, right, from a logical argument. Argument has to have at least two supporting statements that support the conclusion. You can't have one. If you have three statements supporting the conclusion and one of them's wrong, then the whole thing is wrong. So it's really important that you're able to catch these things and listen to them objectively without emotion. She does put some emotion in it, and sometimes it's very convincing. But we have to be objective about this. Let's keep going.
Newmar has responded to me twice now. Shortly after the video came out, I was surprised to hear that they were posting on all their socials that I'm a liar. I write to company manufacturers every week at Monday morning at 6 a.m. I'm talking company presidents and CEOs. If you don't know, I am an RV consumer advocate. I am helping customers that are stuck with brand new defective RVs.
It's really nice that she does this for people. She does it out of the kindness of her heart, but she's also making money at it. Nothing wrong with that at all. She promotes a book in the middle of her PSA, trying to tell people that, hey, we got a problem here. And oh, by the way, I've got this book for sale. I think those two things should be separated, but it's her YouTube channel. She can run it however she wants. I just think that when you're gonna go all in on something like this, that you at least try to put some distance between your marketing and your arguments. It just, it doesn't look like good form to me. And keep the emotion out, right? She wants you to believe that she is a SME, subject matter expert in her field, and that if she tells it to you, it must be true. And I can tell you, just because it's on the internet, it does not mean it's true. And just because she says it does not make it true. Let's keep going.
Typically, I receive responses within hours. For whatever reason, Newmar chose to wait until the end of the week to respond. By then, I'd already shot the video. It was after my production deadline when I finally heard from them. So in the video, I said that I had not heard from them. Now the video comes out and they're trying to post a comment on the video, and they're accusing me of deleting their comments.
Again, Nobody cares about her timeline. Nobody cares about her schedule. Nobody cares when she posts videos. I'm sure Newmar's got better things to do than worry about her schedule. And she's a blip on the radar. She's probably almost irrelevant to them. But you know, a good company is going to address, you know, things that come their way so that they don't look like they're completely ignorant to it. But her trying to say they're trying to delete comments, blah, 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 prove it. Prove it. Um, I can tell you right now, YouTube is famous for deleting shit. I got thrown off YouTube 2 times for telling the truth. So YouTube is can make things look like you did it or somebody else did it, but they're the ones doing it. I've seen people's subscriber counts go backwards during a live broadcast. What? So it's crazy, and YouTube is a horrible company. They just happen to be the only one out there that's paying a decent amount if you're willing to produce slop and crap and stupid shit like dumb clown videos or bullshit like that. Anything that's truthworthy can't go on YouTube for very long. They will take it down. There's way too many stories for anybody not to already know that. But anyway, let's keep going here. I didn't mean to rant.
It's standard practice if you're an established YouTube channel to not allow comments with links or profanity.
Oh my God. So now she's a shmee on YouTube's policies. Okay. There's no standards of practice for YouTube. You can find a standard for every possible practice on YouTube. There's no standard to practice on YouTube. There are people out there that have channels, and one guy decides to do it this way, one guy decides to do it that way. One does it in black and white, one does it in color, one does it with clown cars, and one does it with limousines. There's no standards of practice there on how to do it. And if you do it like this instead of like that, you're violating some unspoken standard. That's just bullshit. And when you throw up arguments like that, you lose me every single time. If you want to engage me and you want my position, well, then you're going to have to prove it with facts. That's just bullshit right there.
I'm assuming that Newmar was trying to post a comment with a link. And if you think about it, if you're a bigger YouTube channel, if you allowed links, oh my goodness, it would be full of spam, people.
So what? Who cares if it's full of spam or dog turds or anything else? It's their channel. They can do whatever the hell they want with it. And if you don't want links, don't allow links. If you want links, allow links. Who cares? You're beating a dead horse here with all of this random emotional crap that is irrelevant to the point. What is the point? The point is it true that you need a 17 character VIN permanently etched on your frame or chassis? That's all we need to know about. That's it. All this other stuff is just crap.
People trying to sell their RV or promote their own YouTube channel. So they're trashing me all across their socials. I want to point out that Newmar is a multi-million-dollar company owned by Winnebago, which is a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
I hate doing this to her. I really do. I don't like being this guy, but it's important if you're going to inform the public that you inform them and you don't just try to bludgeon them to death with a me oh my, look at me, help me, I'm on fire, put me out, help me, I'm on fire, put me out, me. It's always about me, right? Who cares? They're a multi-billion-dollar company. That's a good thing, right? I live in the United States. I'm not sure where she lives, but capitalism is part of our DNA. So any references to their success and how much money they make and trying to put it in a bad light, you lost me. So what? I mean, I think she was a coach owner at one point. So is she saying that what buying a coach is the devil's work? What position is she on coaches? If she's sitting here trying to help people with coaches, I had a coach, I loved it. So I'm not quite sure what she's trying to do there, other than, look at me. You got to side with me. They're the big bad corporation, and it's just little old me. And it's not even about her. It's about the couple of candidates that had their asses handed to them by a couple of retards.
What you're seeing is them trying to shoot the messenger. So let's look at their response. This is the response that came in last week, too late to make it in the video. So Casey Tubman is the president of Newmar, and he's responding saying that they are in full compliance, even with their Spartan chassis. Well, this goes against what Brian says, that Casey was on the phone and the NHTSA, the NHTSA compliance officer, told him that no, you're not. I spent this morning calling Washington, D.C. and talking to NHTSA agents. And no, you cannot put a partial VIN on a frame.
Okay, here we go. So this says sample manufacturer certification label for a truck. Sample manufacturer certification for a truck. Greater than, less than. Sample manufacturer label for incomplete vehicles. Okay, now this, if you read it right here, sample manufacturer's information, what is that word? Oh, label. Sample manufacturer's information. Label. Not placard, not stamped, not anything. A label. And down here you can see the 17-digit X. So this is her proof that she thinks she knows what she's talking about. You have to go back and you have to listen to Newmar's president's statement. It's really important because he talks about the two-part VIN. So we're going to just kind of step back for a second, and we're going to think about this as it relates to Class A motorhomes. Freightliner, Spartan, and Black Horse. There's several different manufacturers that build these things. Mine was a Freightliner. They build these things in bulk. I really doubt that they build one for each order. I'll bet you that at some point they probably build them, and because they know orders will be coming, so they start building these things up. Let's say on a good year they build 1,000 chassis, and then some bullshit like COVID comes out and the entire world gets wiped out financially, and they sell 100. Now they got 900 chassis sitting around. And if you think about the requirements to build the label, then you can understand why they don't have a full VIN. Because the VIN, you start printing labels, and now that those 3 labels have to follow that chassis and paperwork around. And it might sit around for years. It could sit around for years, or maybe never sell at all. So they stamp a partial on there, so they have a record of that chassis with that particular VIN, that piece of VIN. And if you read the NHS whatever TA whatever it is, they say that the manufacturer of the chassis are required to assign the final VIN. That's why they talk about these partial VINs. Let's take a look at it. I'll pause this and I'll be right back. Okay, let's just start with this right here first. See, it might be a little bit cut off here. who is responsible for assigning the VIN for a Class A motorhome? That's what we're talking about here. For a Class A motorhome, the vehicle identification number is typically assigned in 2 stages by 2 manufacturers. Okay, 2 stages by 2 manufacturers. The first VIN is assigned by the manufacturer that builds the underlying vehicle chassis, for example, Ford or Freightliner. At this point, the vehicle is considered an incomplete vehicle. Motorhome manufacturers, the second VIN is assigned by the manufacturer who builds the living quarters and completes the motorhome, such as Winnebago or Forest River. This manufacturer produces a separate manufacturer's statement of origin that includes the final build information. What this means for owners: when you register a Class A motorhome, the Department of Motor Vehicles will typically use the VIN assigned by the final stage motorhome manufacturer. This is the VIN that is most relevant for registration, insurance, and law enforcement. However, the chassis VIN is also important for tracking the vehicle's full history and checking for recalls related to the engine, the transmission, or the components of the vehicle. Now, the only piece that I don't know, and somebody out there could probably tell me this, is that chassis VIN, which I think is like 5 or 6 numbers, does it translate to the final manufacturer label? So the question I'm asking is, the chassis VIN is stamped on there, and then when the coach is done, it says right in there in the NHSTA guidelines that it must be assigned by the chassis manufacturer before it's sold. So before Winnebago or Newmar can sell it, that VIN has to be assigned. So it's assigned to the full coach at that point and sold by the manufacturer to the dealer, and so on and so forth. So, the only piece that I don't know about is the VIN that comes from the chassis, does it find its way onto the final label? And if you remember, I just showed you where it says label. Her document showed label, didn't say stamped, embedded, etched onto the frame. It said label. Okay, remember that. And then here we go. This is from, this is a direct link from ecfr.gov. And it's part of 565.13, Title 49, the CFR 49, 565.13. And right here, each vehicle manufacturer is in one stage have a VIN that is assigned by the manufacturer. Each vehicle manufacturer in more than one stage, okay, like a motorhome, shall have a VIN assigned by the incomplete vehicle manufacturer. And that would be Newmar, right? Vehicle alterers specified 49 shall utilize the VIN assigned by the original manufacturer of these. So, and then it says what it should have on it. Now remember, we just read that it's the final VIN, and they have 2 VINs. They talk about it. So there should be 2 different VINs. One's from the chassis, one's from the coach. And I don't know if they're tied together in the final product or not. Don't know. But it shows right here, and she references this information. She should have read this, and maybe she read it and she wanted to see, maybe she just saw this and she's like, well, it says 17 characters and they're talking about VINs, therefore it must mean that the 17 characters must be on the chassis. And it doesn't say that at all. It doesn't say anything close to that. And it does, but it does say that there are 2 parts. And the final VIN is assigned by the vehicle, the incomplete manufacturer, which would be Newmar, and hers even shows label, and it doesn't say placard or etched or anything else. So she kind of shit the bed on this, and I'm sorry about that. But we have to go with facts, so we can't go with emotion. And I know that I'll probably get some nasty messages for shining a light on this, but you know, we're talking about somebody that lost their ass over incompetence by a couple of government retards let's keep going here, and then let's talk about the the two tards that ruined these two people's lives because they were trying to sell their coach.
Law is very clear that the full 17-digit VIN needs to be etched or riveted on the frame.
It doesn't say that. And her documents right here say label, right there. Label. Does not say anything about etched, riveted, or anything else. It says a label. And a label to me is a sticker. And it even talks about destructible stickers, meaning that they're designed in such a way if you try to peel it off that it destroys itself. Meaning that they usually have some kind of a cut or slice in them, so they peel off in strips. That's a protection thing. That's the way they did it in the military anyway.
And again, you can't do this yourself. That's illegal. This is something that the manufacturer has to do. And the inside stickers need to be non-removable. They can't just be printed on a laser printer and stickered on top of wallpaper or in a cabinet. So that could potentially affect the entire product line, not just Spartan chassis for Newmar.
Okay, let's see, what is this? Okay, so this comes from Newmar. It says that you can read that for yourselves. I don't need to read to you. Here's what I want to bring attention to, which I think is important. She is trying to convince you that her data is true and everybody else's is false. She makes statements like they said, they told them that, and she doesn't ever reference anything. So when I come down here and I look for the links to her supporting documents like that is Title 49, Part 565.13, the requirements for a VIN coming from NHSTA. Why doesn't she have this? She's the advocate. She's the one that said that she was the advocate. Everything here is self-promotion. PayHip, Amazon, Liz Magazine, escapees.com, PayHip. There's nothing here about this story. Who is Liz? All rights reserved. This is a self-promotion page, and if this is supposed to be a PSA, then she did a really shitty job of it. And when I jumped onto this story, I jumped on it as a PSA because that's what I thought she was trying to do, was try to help people. And I think that's ultimately what she's trying to do, but she did a really terrible job at it. And she didn't put any supporting documentation, and she put that documentation in there. It says label, which just kills her argument. And then right here, it talks all about a multi-part VIN being assigned. The final VIN is assigned by the incomplete manufacturer, which is going to be Newmar. And it's clear as day. And none of the documents, and she even says that the law says, well, where does it say that? Prove it to me. Make me wrong. I don't mind being wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize. You just haven't made me wrong yet. So make me wrong and prove it and make me look bad. If that's your goal. I'm trying to help people and make sure that they got good information. Let's get back to the real criminals here. And those are the idiots that started this with these people that are just trying to sell their coach. They did so much damage to them, put them through so much hell, and I hope that they don't continue to pursue the Newmar thing. I think they're going to run into a brick wall. And let me tell you something about attorneys. They will not tell you that you are walking into a black hole, because black holes are very expensive and they want to bleed you to death. They will not tell you. Let me make a point. I hired an attorney to protect me from fraudulent HOA where I had all of the evidence. I had all of the proof. I had proof that they were creating secret meetings and not telling anybody, and doing fraudulent votes, and creating documents about the meetings after the fact, and making mistakes, like they put the date that they signed it different than the date of the meeting. All of this fraud, I had all of it. All of it. And I hired 2 different attorneys to stop the, and I knew in my soul, from the deepest part of my soul, that we were going to win, because I had the proof and there's only one set of facts. Well, we didn't win. And we did have all the facts. And here's the problem. The part of the equation that I didn't have is that the fucking system is broken. The attorneys are corrupt. The judges are corrupt. The politicians are corrupt. All of them. All the way to the Supreme Court Justice Loretta fucking Rush. All corrupt. And it's a game. What they do is they set you up. We built our house. We built it. It was our first home. We were the happiest people in the world. We were on top of the world. We had an RV. We'd bring it in and pull it into our driveway. The whole thing fit in our driveway. And then once in a while, we'd bring a limousine in and get it ready. We had a limousine company. We got sued for doing business out of our home, which is all bullshit. You don't do business out of your home on a limousine company. Tell me one limousine company where the limousine driver says, yeah, come on over here and we'll get in the car. Bullshit, right? And I lost. Why did I lose? Because the system was broke. But that's not why I lost. I lost because my attorneys knew that the system was broke, and they never fucking told me, because they wanted to bleed me to fucking death. That's why the system's broke. That's why the attorneys need to understand with these 2 that, hey, the real money, the real jackpot is the 2 retards that destroyed their lives. The government officials that destroyed their lives because they were complete incompetent morons and they didn't know their job. So hopefully these people get this message and they go after those fucks instead of Newmar, because Newmar will have plenty of money to bury them, and bury them they will. So, I don't care about Newmar. I don't have any skin in the game. I don't buy any stock in Newmar. I don't know shit about them. But I do know that if you come at them and you're wrong, there's only one set of facts. You're going to lose because you don't have the facts supporting you, because the facts are right here in front of your face right now. The documentation clearly defines what is allowed, what's required for a VIN, when, how, where, and nowhere does it say that a 17-character VIN has to be a placard permanently attached to the frame. Doesn't say it anywhere. And if I'm wrong, show me. But anyway, that's what I wanted to say about this. I will not be putting out another update on this unless somebody asks me to say something. I think that we've come to the end of the line on this. I will watch it from the sidelines. But if anybody likes this, they like the content, they like what I have to say, and they'd like more information about something, or you want to hire me, I own my own company, so I'd be more than happy to consult you or talk to you about whatever it is that you like. I'm very good at building AI. I'm very good at building models. I've built about 14 different models of my own. I've built a lot of custom software and I use it to hunt out corruption on the internet, and it does a very good job for me. So anyway, I hope this helps somebody, and if not, tell me I'm just a stupid ass and I should stay in my own lane. Take care, everybody. God bless you, and as always, God bless the United States of America. Take care.